popularize the blockchain. And as another group has thought a lot detail about like blockchain technology, we just have to like briefly introduce a bit about what we understand about like blockchain technology. So it has origins it has its origins in the field of cryptocurrency, which is using the online currency like with a strong cryptography that can do the online transaction. And it was originally used to establish Bitcoin. And blockchain technology can create decentralized, distributed, tokenized networks. Such DLT, short for distributed ledger technology, enables the proof of ownership and transfer of ownership from one party to another without mediator. So anyone engaged in this kind of like system can add data but cannot change previous data, and they can see the ledger, like the shared ledger, but they cannot see exactly the detailed information or privacy of who are engaging in the transaction. So blockchain technology has mainly 5 key features: decentralized, distributed, transparent, fast, and safe. With these kind of like features, it has lots of like benefits. Blockchain make it easier and faster to do peer-to-peer transaction with lower cost because there is no mediator, so we don't need to pay for transaction fee. And it made the process of exchange more transparent and help to validate the events more quickly. And different parties in the business can collaborate without sharing sensitive information, and which allowed them to trace the origins of the supplies or resources and verify their status. Like I sent this to another things and it arrived at what place or something like that. And it reduced the friction throughout the supply chain. So with these benefits, although blockchain technology is still under research, it can be applied to many different industry or areas like energy, pharmaceutical industries, retails, charities, or something like that. To make sure that the resources can be delivered to people or places that actually have the urgent needs of those kind of like resources or supplies as soon as possible.
Just to give the background of the place, so Brixton is in the south of London and it's an Afro-Caribbean culture ambience. And what is Brixton Town? So Brixton Town is a local currency which was introduced in 2008 for the community people, local community people. And Brixton Pound 1 is equal to sterling pound, and currently they are implementing algorithm blockchain. Next slide. So basically, before it was accepted with 250 plus independent businesses, but right now they are shifting it to digital currency because so right now the current scenario is they are collaborating with all of the brands, and Algorand is the brand who is coping up with the digital currency process, and also they have approached us for this, so we are also here for that. Right.
So I took a quick trip down to Brixton to kind of feel the vibes down there. I started out by looking for the Brixton Pound cash machine. It's actually not there anymore, sadly, but used to be right here. Don't know where it went, but that's because the Brixton Pound is not circulating right now. And also, this is the old location where the Brixton Pound store was. They sold merchandise and other things there that you could also exchange your money. And then the Brixton Pound Cafe, this is where it used to be. It's another cafe now, where they used to have the surplus fruits and vegetables, and they made their different dishes there. Next slide. And also, I went asking around to some different stores and businesses down there to see if they've heard of the Brixton Pound, and also Diverse and Brixton Whole Foods. I knew that you could exchange your money at Diverse. When I talked to the owner there, she was saying that she really loved the idea of it, but then it ended up being kind of a more tourist attraction where people would come there and exchange money for the pounds, and the money that was supposed to stay in Brixton wasn't actually staying in Brixton. And down there, you really get a unique feel. It's very vibrant, there's a lot of cultures going on, and diverse and friendly atmosphere that we really want to incorporate into this new currency of the Brixton Pound.
So the cryptocurrency and Brixton, the blockchain technology are separate ideas as we introduced. The Brixton technology is based on group of transactions verified by many users once it's validated. So use of this blockchain can make the process more transparent and efficient. And we are now exploring how to use this technology to help Brixton create a more equal and more inclusive and more diverse community. So except money, what can measure value, like local culture, time, love, and understanding. So those features are all universal. In other words, everyone has it. So even homeless people or older people or small children, they can all participate in this system. So we are now at the place of exploring how to make the Brixton more equal, more diverse, and more love.
Thank you, guys. Any questions? Al?
I really like that you went to Brixton. We didn't have the time to do that, but that was a really interesting point about the lady saying how it became more of a tourist attraction, because from all the interviews you read from This Ain't Rock and Roll and other places, they held it as like, it stays in Brixton, it's for Brixton, and then it's good that you actually found that, in some reality that, it wasn't that utopian as they believed it to be, which I think is something also taken into consideration, like when this is released, again, how can we stop it being more of a touristy gimmick, novelty thing, and actually something that can be used for, as you said, a good social impact, incorporating the things there.
Yeah, I like that she, as Alex said, you went to Brixton, because I think that's a good way to start identifying what are the gaps with the currency already, and start from how can we fix it, and that's what she started doing, so I think that's a really good direction.
Okay, other points, questions?
I remember in the previous slide, I think you mentioned you had an interesting question, which I would look more into, which is, I think it was where else can the value of money be applied? I think this question opens the door to a lot of possibilities you can think of, whether it's with the Brixton Pound or the blockchain in general. So I think I would look more into that personally.
Did you look into any other different ways of values and stuff at the time, or were you focusing on this other stuff there?
We've talked about it a little bit, but we definitely want to dig a little bit deeper next week about this, because this is kind of our idea that we want to start incorporating.
Yeah.
Yeah, we refer to many movies or dramas about the future, how money would be like, transference or time or
In time.
yeah.
minutes still on the clock. Nice. Feedback. You can also ask these guys some questions, maybe.
Have any of you used cryptocurrencies or any of that blockchain technology?
I've definitely started researching on how to use it because I didn't even know how to use it beforehand, but I haven't invested any money myself into that.
We have watched some video about like how people use them and also like how they could be stolen as well. Like someone, a guy, who showed the QR code of his like Bitcoin or something like that. It was stolen directly from like by scanning the screen or something like that, and that kind of like big amount of money was stolen.
If you have any idea yet, would you envision this cryptocurrency to be implemented in the whole neighborhood of Brixton, or only in some specific parts for specific interactions?
When I was down in Brixton, I was kind of looking at spots where maybe you could have points of access, and I was thinking maybe either the TFL where you can purchase cards, or maybe the red telephone boxes, where right now where the Brixton cash machine used to be, I think unless you were looking for it directly, you wouldn't actually be finding it. So I think that's a slight problem there, where if you want to open it to everyone, you really need everyone to see it.
They also started this text message thing in which they had to text to the owner that I want this much of apples for this much of pound, and that was working for a while, but now they want to shift it to the new era of digital.
So who was sending text messages?
The customer to the owner. So basically there are food markets and cafes in Brixton, the Brixton place. So they use this text message program for some time in 2011 and 12. And basically it's like how we scan our PayPal codes and all that. So it's basically you just have to text that I am using 12 pounds to buy apples, and then that message used to go to the other person. And that's how transactions used to be.
I didn't quite understand that explanation, but I'll ask you about it again later.
It was their last effort. Instead of using actual cash as currency, they were using a text message system.
Who's they?
The Brixton pound.
Oh, okay, so it's Brixton Pound text message system.
Up until 2017, they were using that, but I don't think it caught on as well as they had anticipated.
Is this still being used right now?
As far as I'm aware of all the places I went to, a lot of places knew about it, but no one accepted it anymore. They said that the community really loved it at the time, but slowly it just died out for one reason or another.
I came across the same thing that Manali is saying about text messages in Brixton, and actually it's more of a question really. I wonder, since you mentioned earlier about how the Brixton Pound is seen as a touristic attraction, something that is valuable to the society. If something is becoming more and more digital through text message, how would you see the values of Brixton being incorporated in this digital system, whether it's blockchain or text messages? It's an open question. It's not something, but it's something to think about maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if we know the answer to that quite yet, but I definitely think we're interested in exploring that.
We don't either, don't worry. Have you had any thoughts on the word materialise? What that means?
Do you guys know?
No?
We are still considering like materials, but I think John provides a good question for us to think about. Like we can set a scenario or dream about a scenario, and then to see how to make the real things real or something like that.
I think scenario is going to be helpful in this project.
Yeah.
I also think there's a sort of political level question, which is what are you doing that is different to simply reproducing the same mechanisms of power and exploitation that money ordinarily does. I mean, just because it's computational doesn't remove any of that stuff at all. And in fact, we see, I mean, I really like those 5 values you put up, put on the map in the previous group, safe, transparent, whatever it was. I think that was in Ines as well. Yeah, none of that would automatically lead to different types of outcomes at all. In fact, we see right now that cryptocurrencies are used in exactly the same way as regular money.
It's a bit like the reading from Monday, in that as money is dematerialized, actually those inequalities that we already see that are nested in the way that people exchange are exacerbated, or that seems to be the direction of travel. So, as John's pointing out, how you manage that, how you localize, I think is really, really important.
Yeah, agree.
I think the thing about thinking about place, thinking about distance is really, really important in relation to social relationships. It's really important for this group. Money and work and time are all things that govern how it's situated, where it goes, and in a contested space like Brixton, as it is contested at the moment, has been for a while. I think that's really important.
Good job, guys.